seems like just a few weeks ago we were talking about flooding in Christchurch, and now here we are again. It was a wet Easter weekend for many of us, but most of us aren't left with a huge mess trying to recover from a serious flood.
The last time Christchurch flooded, Brodie Kane reported from the worst hit area, which was the Flockton Basin. So we sent her back there again.
Everyone knows Christchurch is awash with problems.
People in New Zealand are sick of hearing about Christchurch and the earthquakes, and now, you know, even Christchurch people are sick of probably hearing about the Flockton cluster. You know, we're sick of talking about it. Yep. You know, we wish we could have a solution so we could actually...
Big loser sign across the top of your head.
So that we can move on with our lives.
Rose and Stephen Lennon's home survived the earthquakes, but a succession of floods have now left it uninhabitable.
It's got worse and worse. Every time it rains, it's got worse and worse. There's no excuses, not 100-year floods anymore. It's just rainy days. You know, two days of rain, we're in the crap.
The Easter holiday got underway with a downpour, which was followed by a flood, the 7th in the Flockton Basin since the quake struck.
I'm going to explain it. It just wrecks your soul every time. It's just like there's no tunnel and there's no light at the end of it. We just want to get on with our lives. We live to work every day now. That's it.
Rose and Stephen's insurers are looking at combining their earthquake damage and flood repairs.
My goodness. We had to take all the underflooring out to dry it all out under the ground.
But there doesn't seem to be much point with no short-term solution on the table.
So look, the flooding's directly resulted from the earthquake. So since then, all the problems have flowed from there. Look, we're in two minds. We can't put up with the continuous flooding, but we actually don't want to leave. So it's a catch-22, but we've got to make some decisions that are based on common sense, and we need some options, and we don't have them at the moment.
The council is currently exploring its options, but so far the two flood remediation plans would be at least 2 years away.
In the short term, those in this area that are trapped in this recurring nightmare need a solution which I suspect really sits with Sarah or the government.
Whoever it ends up sitting with, the Lennons just want help for them and those around them.
When you have an earthquake, you can go back in your home and you can live with the cracks, and everybody looks after each other. You know, now it's silent, it's just like a disease here because everyone's just gone and nobody cares about their properties anymore, and it's just like everything's overgrowing, and we've got, you know, the rats and everything else coming into the properties. They're the new tenants.
All Rose wants is to be able to enjoy doing her garden again like a normal person.
We come around here and we try and do a productive hour, and it's just, you can't, because it's just so depressing, because it's not your home anymore.
Okay, Brodie Kane is with us now live in Christchurch. Brodie, pretty tough situation for Rose and Stephen there. They say they don't have any options. So what is their next move? Because they have to make a decision, don't they?
Absolutely, Tony. We're standing outside their house. I think you remember about 6 weeks ago we were on this street and knee-deep in water. Now that was exactly the same at the weekend. For Rose and Stephen, they can't live in the house, as you would have seen. So they're actually renting an apartment in town, but, you know, that's not ideal as well. It's interesting, though, they actually have a couple of options that they think could work, and they want the council and the government to consider them. The first one is that they buy all the land, do the flood remediation, and then sell it again once it's all done. They think that that's probably something that could work. Or people that's houses are really badly affected could potentially get some form of accommodation assistance while that flood remediation is done. We're looking at about around 70 houses, so it doesn't seem like it's too monumental.
So let me get this straight, 2 years for the flood remediation, but they need a quick fix now. So what's the likelihood of the government coming in to save the day in the short term?
Well, that's what many residents are asking. They actually say that the council has been doing a good job in keeping them informed with what they want to do, but they actually are asking, where is the government? Obviously, Sarah was created because of the earthquakes, and the flooding in the Flockton area is largely linked to those earthquakes. So they're sort of saying, where is Sarah in this? Where is the government? However, by law, local governments are in charge of flood-related issue. So the council is taking the lead on this. Earthquake Recovery Minister Jerry Brownlee has said, though, that they are with the council. They're just waiting to see what kind of help the council needs, and that's yet to be determined. On Thursday, the Mayor Leanne Dalzell will indicate a timeline for the decision-making process. So hopefully people have some idea about what's going to happen then.
OK, so you're standing in Flockton at the moment, Brodie, but that's not the only place hit. Is that 70 or 80 houses in that region? And where else is struggling?
Well, I'll tell you what, the Flockton area we've focused a lot on, because it's just, you come down here and it's just all the roads are knee-deep with water, and it's absolutely horrendous. And it's actually an area where a lot of EQC work is being done, so all these people's houses were getting fixed already, and now they've got to deal with the floods. So there are some other areas, though, and they are feeling a little bit forgotten about as well. This is around the Heathcote River, Opawa, Sydenham and St Martin's. So there are a lot of areas that all it is taking now is a night of rain, you know, 8, 9, 10 hours of rain, and it's flooding. So by all accounts, it's getting worse and worse, and, you know, 2 years is a long way to wait for it to get better.
Sure is. Brodie Kane, thank you for your time. Heather, middle of winter, I mean, this is just the very start. Like they said, a few hours of rain and this is happening now. Goodness knows what the middle of winter will be like.
I don't think I could cope for 2 years like that. I don't think I could cope. And I think, you know, I know there's a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of red tape that's tying this up, but we need to remember these people's stories. And if you think about it, 70 or 80 houses, maybe give or take a few more in the other areas, that is nothing in contrast to 7,300 houses that were red zoned after the earthquake. So we're dealing with just a small number here. In contrast, I just think it needs to be sorted out.
And the whole side of it of not coping. Some people have no choice. They have to cope because they haven't got a second option. They can't afford to rent and pay a mortgage at the same time.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just so expensive. I just can't imagine how hard it's going to be for them. Strength to those guys.